This is the Bitcoin 1 month overview reading for the month of May 2023. It's currently April 7, 2023, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. The shuffle file that we're about to play was created on March 23rd, 2023 at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's this file right here. The overall theme and behavior for the month of May, we have a fast sudden move higher sitting out on a multi-day chart, probably at least a 1 month chart, probably a year-to-date chart. It is, however, crossed with some declines. The declines do offer opportunity to open up a long position. And we'll get into the trades in more depth in the paid version of this reading. Quite a few trades in here. Behavior around the highest high. We have unexpected moves into the highest high or highs. It looks like we do have one highest high. And there's an unexpected move into that. Usually starts out of a decline and move to the upside. Behavior around the lowest low. We'll have three crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level, confirming a bullish trend. Important to point out that we also have a highest high correlation for the following month. Usually that does indicate that we see a higher price level, a higher high in the following month. Either that or the same high, probably a higher high. Before we go any further, let's take a look at our March reading and see how we did. All right, so we have lowest low somewhere around between like the 10th and the 12th. And you can see right here, we had a low on the 10th. And it was like we kind of like hovered around there until the 12th. So we had this significant low here. And then it looks like we get into a highest high on the 23rd or the 26th. Looks like we're off a day on the highest high. It ended up being, whoa. No, 22nd. I thought it said 23rd for a second. 22nd. So we were off by a day there. But when we almost see it again, and then at the very end of the month, we do see it again, and it looks like that takes place on the 30th. We were off a little bit there as well, but we did have a highest high in the early 20s, a highest high in the late 20s, and got the lows pretty snap-on. What else could we get into? As far as the trades, if you had opened up a long position here in the midst of like this 10th or the 12th, 10th or the 11th, I should say, you would have been pretty happy to close that long position on the 23rd. You would have left a little bit on the table getting it on the 23rd. 22nd would have been better, but I think it would have been hard for a lot of people. Probably looked like we were going higher from there. We've got the devil card there on the 22nd. And then we had another lowest low at the end of the month. Looks like we were off on that. We did go into another pretty significant low here end of the month, but not quite a lowest low. Important to point out this card here, the sneak preview card, does appear on the 1 month. On the 14th there, just off of the high. So that's important to point out. But overall, a pretty solid reading, I think. Pretty solid reading, especially when you take into account that the March reading was created on February 9th, 2023, almost a full month in advance. All right, so back to what we were looking at here for May. On the 1st, we have out of oversold territory early in the day. There's a notable move. Some part of the day on the 1st, there's a notable move out of oversold territory. It looks like we have a cross correlation there with the Ace of Cups. So there's a bit of a decline in there early in the morning, but ends up out of oversold territory, moving to the upside. There's a trade opportunity I'll get into in more detail on the paid version. Excuse me. On the 2nd, a period of volatility ends with a fast sudden move higher. There's also a trade opportunity there I'll get into in the paid version on the 3rd. Another trade opportunity. We successfully moved to the upside, standing out on a 1 month chart, and we successfully turned resistance into new support. That's resistance on a multi-day chart. On the 4th, looks like we have quite a bit of ground covered from that support that we created on the 3rd. There's a decline into a prominent trough. It won't be a lowest low, but actually it could be a lowest low there. There is a probability of lowest there. Not the highest probability, but there might be There's like second highest probability of a lowest low being there. And what might happen is we see the lowest here on the 4th, and then we revisit here on the 24th. Looks like we're going to do like a crisscross back and forth through the same price level, so we should see one high and two lows based on that. On the 5th, more decline. In the midst of maybe some bearish price swings. On the 6th, a period of volatility that ends with a period of volatility that has a sharp drop within that period of volatility. I think we probably do have a lowest low there. I'm going to mark it off. But not with or close to a lowest low, I should say. Not necessarily the lowest low, but pretty close. So I'll put it at like 33% translucent versus 50 for the lowest low. Right, I think somewhere in there. Another prominent trough on the 7th after some multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance. There's a trade opportunity there as well. Guys, if you're interested in the paid version, it's a really great way to support the channel. You do that by going here. To the website Tarot for Traders. You do that by going to the website Tarot for Traders and then hitting on our services, Eso-Meta forecasts. And monthly predictions. You can specify April, you can specify May right now. And when you go in, it'll give you a list of the different tickers that you can order. You just pick the ticker, click add to cart, and purchase. And that's a really great way to support the channel. Also, the best way to trade based on the information. We see the best trades throughout the month, and we talk about it in more detail in the paid version. Let's get back to what we're looking at, though. All right, so on the 8th, we have rotation along key support level. Excuse me, there's a trough on the 7th with a notable breakout on a one-day scale there towards the end of the day off of a low or trough on the 7th. And then on the 8th, we have a period of sideways rotation along key support on a multi-day scale. We rise to meet the nearest resistance and then fall back down and continue rotating sideways along key support. And that's nearest resistance, like in important resistance on a multi-day. There's a rally out of a trough. There's a lot going on there, actually. There's a rally on the 9th that offers a significant trade opportunity. There's actually a day trade opportunity there on the 9th. On the 10th, another trade opportunity in the midst of quite a bit of price change. There's a highest high thus far there on the 10th. I don't think it'll be the highest high for the month, but it's a highest high thus far for the month. And we have a selling from a prominent crest or peak here into a trough, a prominent trough there on the 11th. There's a pretty significant selling on the 10th from the thus far highest high there into a trough or crest or peak that we sell off further into a trough there on the 11th. A period of sideways rotation and a sharp drop that stands out in that period of sideways rotation. We visit a support level here around the 12th, 11th, 12th. That was recently a past opportunity. And then we have a resistance level that's highlighted on the 13th and most likely a highest high for the month here on the 13th. We might see it on the 15th, but most likely here on the 13th. And then there's a sharp decline on the 14th that'll really stand out on at least a 1 month scale, probably a multi-day, like a multi-month or a year-to-date scale based on the fact that it did appear as the sneak preview card. Well, that's March. In any case, it probably still stands out, but it's not as prominent based on it being March. In any case, there's a significant decline off of the high on the 13th, off of that resistance, and we continue declining through multiple support levels on the 15th. On the 16th, we established support. We finally established support there, and then it looks like we have a fake-out, shakeout on the 17th. Hard to determine on the 17th, and it looks like it's to the downside there, so that's a good opportunity to get out. I think probably because there's some scary, well, if you're in a short position, there's probably some scary things that go on around the 19th, 20th, maybe even the 21st, which is why I wouldn't get out at the lowest low. It might be a lowest low there, but I don't think so. It will be a prominent trough there. And then on the 18th, we have a U-shaped dip within a period, a U-shaped dip that forms near the intersection of two perpendicular diagonal trend lines. It's followed by, there's a prominent trough at the end of the day there, or on the cusp of the 18th, 19th, and then out of that prominent trough, there's a rally that increases with momentum moving forward into the day, creating a crest on the 20th that we then sell off from down to and through support, and then we do a U-shaped reversal, come back and reuse that support as support. That's support on a multi-day scale. On the 21st, we have another prominent trough and a prominent peak. There's a lot of ground covered there on the 21st. With a rally out of a trough along a diagonal trend line, breaking through horizontal resistance to meet second resistance, and then pulling back to somewhere between those two price levels. And then on the 22nd, we have erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level, confirming revisiting a opportunity at a crest in the midst of that erratic behavior back and forth through the same price level. The following day, there's a prominent trough in the midst of a decline that stands out. And actually two significant trade opportunities there on the 22nd and 23rd I'll get into in the paid version. And then it looks like we have a lowest low here on the 24th. High probability of a lowest low there on the 24th. And there's a rally along that lowest, out of that lowest low into the 25th, offering an opportunity to open up a quick short position. Because we declined from a brief peak or crest there towards the end of the day on the 26th. We declined through multiple support levels. You could close out of that position, short position there. It's kind of a tricky place to open up a short position right around the low. So I might avoid and just stick with I'll get into more trade detail, but you see what I'm talking about as far as trade information. I get into more detail on where I see, because I don't think it should be, we should wait until the lowest low for that. In any case, there's a sharp decline there, and then a trade opportunity on the 27th, and then it's a sideways fluctuating decline that precedes a rally. It's kind of like a sideways S formation rally, so we see this like rally to a resistance, then we decline to support, reverse go all the way back to resistance, reverse go all the way back to support, and then we rally along a diagonal trend line on the 29th, but that rally ends with a fast sudden move higher and a breakdown through the diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. We see a new local high. So on like a multi-day scale, there's probably a new prominent crest here on the 31st. Where when we break through resistance, we stay above it briefly, and then we break back down through the same price level shortly thereafter. Matter of fact, we may have another highest high here. There's a fast sudden move higher here on the 29th into possibly another highest high. I'm going to mark that off. If you want to learn more about Eso-Meta pattern recognition, guys, it was developed over a 23-year period. There's a book we sell on the website, tarotfortraders.com. You can also get it on Amazon. They have it for Kindle. And it's the only book of its depth in the field of tarot and the stock market. I think it's probably the only one written by somebody who was a professional in the field. I'm going to say it's somewhere around, there's probably another highest high there, or it's close to a highest high, or it's the new high after the low, it's the new highest high since the low. Something along those lines takes place there with that abundance card. And then the following day, we have a decline to and through support to meet a second support. We bounce along that support sideways for a bit and then break down through multiple support levels on the 31st. A trade opportunity there as well. And it does look like we have a higher price level or higher high It's either the same high or a higher. It's probably a higher high here in June. Let's take a look at the 1 year and see. It looks like probably a higher high in July. But a notable and important high here in like the second week of May. It looks to go from the bottom of range all the way to the top of range to reach a high. I'm gonna say this isn't a highest high, but it's a prominent high. So I'm gonna get rid of the filling in there and make it a high. It's a prominent high that'll stand out there. That's the Bitcoin May 1 month overview reading for May 2023. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button, guys. If you want to see May for June, comment in the comments, because we don't do ones that people like don't comment or aren't active in. So make sure if you want to see more Bitcoin monthlies that you comment in the comments, and really the best way to ensure that is to get the paid version. That really helps support the channel, guys. We're a small business. We are not out of the woodwork. This gift is for other people, not for myself. Unfortunately for myself, it's fortunate for other people. But with that said, the channel does need your support. So make sure to follow through on the rule of karma, my friends. If you don't know what the rule of karma is, check out the rule of karma video. But the best way to do that, to follow the rule of karma, is to go to our channel, our resources tab on the page tarotfortraders.com. And then the Cash App and PayPal send back 5% of the profits here. And then to make it easy to pay it forward 5% of the profits, we have all these charity links here that you could donate 5% of the profits forward. And that really ensures the abundance mindset and ensures the flow of abundance continues coming to you. As long as you spend that 90% of the left over out of love, the universe will send it back to you tenfold in all directions, my friends. Stay tuned for the paid version if you got that paid version, my friends. And I'll see you on the next one.